Well, hey, my friends, it's Chaya bin Shabbat. Welcome back. We are about to jump right into secret number 3 of my little black book of homeschooling secrets, which just start with why. But before we get into that, I just want to welcome you to my master bedroom closet, which, as any good entrepreneur or work from home parent or homeschooler would know, this makes the world's best office. It has become my home away from home over the past 12 years. Not only have I done countless amounts of conference calls and video conferences and recordings from my closet, because it is probably the only quiet space that any parent can really find when they, you lock the outer room and then you come in, you lock the inner door. And so it's the safest place that you can typically find, unless you want to do a recording in the bathroom. And not only that, but it actually has good acoustics because it's got the carpet and all the clothes and everything. So there's less of an echo. So as any good homeschooler or work from home parent would be able to tell you, you are going to fall in love with doing as many things as possible from your bedroom closet. So that's where we are today. So very quickly before we go in, because I know all women love to check out other women's closets because that's where we feel like we get the good stuff, we get the scoop, and that's where we know we're really good friends. So I'm just going to move over so you can see mine, so you don't have to be worrying about it the rest of the video. Okay, so now that we're all caught up on the juice and the good stuff, let's jump right into my little black book of homeschooling secrets, secret number 3. Remember, we are focused on how to blend your child's education with your occupation during isolation, which is obviously where all of us are right now. So if you missed the first 2 videos, you are welcome to find those on my Facebook page, Digging Deeper for Success. And as I promised you, we are going through one secret each day where I am giving you bonus material that's just allowing us to really dig deeper into the concepts behind each secret. So, and I promise to do that in 10 minutes or less because as homeschoolers, people don't have a lot of free time. So let's go ahead and jump right into secret number 3, which is start with why. Now, if you are familiar with Simon Sinek, he gave one of the most famous TED Talks of all time on this topic, start with why. And it is so powerful that I would highly encourage anyone who hasn't ever had a chance to check that out to do so. In fact, I will try, after we finish this chat, I will try to dig it out and post it as a link in this video. And if I remember correctly, the last time I checked, there was a long version, like the full version, and there's also a shortened, abridged version. And honestly, the short version will give you the gist of the idea. So I'll try to find that and post it to you here. But this concept of start with why is a philosophy that we follow in our house in every single area of life. In everything that we do, we start with why. We look at why are we doing the thing. And we don't do the thing, whatever the thing would be, unless we have a good reason as to why we're doing it. And before we start chasing a rabbit here or there, or we like this good idea or that, we stop and we force ourselves to ask ourselves the question, why are we doing it? Because when we can get really, really clear on the why, then it dictates the what, the how, the when, and with whom. So if we take that concept and we look at it in regard to homeschooling, well, the first answer, the surface level answer, is very obvious. Okay, don't ask me such a dumb question. I'm homeschooling my kids. Why? Well, because I'm being forced to, because hello, there's a global pandemic and we are all being forced to homeschool our kids. So I get that. I totally get it. And I also get that for the vast majority of the planet, everybody will be rushing to throw their kids back at the school doors as soon as the lockdown is lifted. And I totally get that as well. So I'm not arguing with either one of those points, but what I want to invite you to do is I want you to dig deeper. So we know that there is a reason for everything, and we know that everything happens in the perfect way and in the perfect time. We may not always understand it, but when, as Jim Rome likes to say, when we become the owner of our own planet, then we can write the rules. And until we become the rule writer of this planet, we don't always know the why behind everything. We don't always know the reason behind things happen the way that they do. But we have to have faith and trust that there is a reason for everything. So if we know that there's a reason for this, and something good obviously is going to come out of it, even amidst such tragedy and chaos, and quite honestly, the fear that's sweeping the world is probably one of the biggest catastrophes and tragedies of all. But we know that every cloud has a silver lining. So if we're looking at this micro piece of homeschooling within the pandemic. So for whatever reason, the entire world has been forced to homeschool. So now the question is, what are we going to do about it? So why am I homeschooling? Well, because I'm forced to. Okay, but let's go a layer deeper than that. So yes, on a surface level, that's why. But what are you going to take away from this season? You know, we've said this many, many times, but life is only 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond. So what are you going to do about this season of homeschooling? What do you want to come out of this? Have you ever taken a really hard, strong look at how your children are being educated? For example, why did you pick the schools where they are? Did you pick them because they are just in your neighborhood, because they're the most affordable, because it's what everyone does, where everyone goes? Did you pick them because you are in alignment with the school philosophies? You know, when it comes down to the teachers that your kids get every year, you know, we have to stop and be aware those teachers are actually spending more time with our children than we are. So did we have an opportunity to interview those teachers and ask them, what are your life philosophies? What are your parenting philosophies? How do you handle children? What are your discipline philosophies? How do you communicate with children? What are your life goals? Because remember that their personality is going to influence and impact our children. So right now, it's not our job, it's not our mission, it's not our project to go back and start, looking through all of those things at a fine-tooth comb. But the reality is, most of us end up with our kids being educated not from a totally purposeful, proactive, and strategic space. They end up being educated a lot of times based on convenience for the parents and based on this is just the best that there is in a schooling perspective. Okay, so dealing in the reality, which sometimes is painful, that's where a lot of us end up. That's how a lot of us were educated. And then by default, that's how we turn around and we pass the situation along to our children because we never stop to think anything differently. So what I am asking you to do now is to say, if you've got this little season of time with your children where you are responsible, you are the primary educator, and you are primarily responsible for the outcome of their education during this season of time, however long it may be, a couple of months, and please God, by the end of the summer at the latest, we will all be able to, start back creating a new sense of normal and new routines into the new academic year. So let's just say, based on our best guess, that between now and the end of the summer, you are going to be primarily responsible for your child's education. It's not what you had planned on. It's not how you started this year. It certainly was not your expectation. Whether or not it's fair is a completely irrelevant discussion at this point. So now what? How can you make this the most absolute best thing ever that happened for you and your kids, their education and your cohesiveness as a family unit all together? What if that becomes your new why? So what if instead of settling for this why, because it was forced on me, what if we take a moment and we redefine a new why? What if we establish a new why so that we can be purposeful and intentional as opposed to being reactive and angry and panicked and chaotic for the next several months? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will be back with you tomorrow for lesson number 4. Bye for now, everybody.